Isang napakagandang hapon sa inyong lahat and welcome to the Nationals, the very first franchise-based esports league in the country, and we will be your casters for this afternoon. My name is Saya and with me is the birthday boy, Leo.
Kumusta, ladies and gentlemen? And that's right, I'm glad to be doing what I love on this kind of special day. Pero ang storya talaga ay ang susunod na laban. It's LPE versus Bren Epro. One of them struggling because they just came from a loss. The other even more struggling because they came from a losing streak. Saya, I can only imagine how high the stakes are, and truly this is both good and bad for us kasi napakainit ng laban, pero just the same exciting kasi alam ko ilalabas ni Coach Panda at ni Coach Daki ang best sa kanilang teams.
But of course, before anything else, Leo, let's check out kung ano nga ba ang naging results from the previous day, diba? So right now, this is going to be it. We did see that Signal Ultra Warriors was able to get a 2-1 victory against Bren Epro na makikita nga na makikipaglaban mamaya against LPE. And of course, the second match that they have was, again, a winning streak for STIE Olympians, having a 2-0 feat against Happy Feet Emperor. So ngayon, our match for today is LPE versus Bren Epro. Like you mentioned, they both experienced loss. So ngayon, we will be witnessing their fights out. But right now, let's check out the team standings real quick to see the progression of our teams.
What is this, right?
Yes.
Who'd have thunk that the E-Olympians would be neck and neck with Omega, with Bren at third, and the Warriors and the Eagles next to them at 4 points each. So this is what I said in the pre-show, kung napanood nyo yun, ladies and gentlemen. The Warriors and the Eagles, nung debut pa lang nung Eagles, tapat na sila, no? So, kinda sucks na yung mga ibon nandito sa baba. Pero itong dalawang ibon na to, magkalapit yan ng playstyle at tutok sila, no? Napakainit laban na yan. So, it just shows, maybe logic speaking here, if the Eagles face off against Epro, who knows, Saya, baka mangyari din ang reverse sweep. But I doubt it. I think Daki learned from game number 1. Coach Daki, alongside his players, learned from their previous weekend's matchup. Yes, that was just this weekend kung saan na-reverse sweep sila ng Warriors. So, feeling ko hindi na mauulit. But I'm not counting the Eagles out just yet.
This is true. I mean, we all see a certain amount of vulnerability for both sides of our teams. You know what? Let's see the schedule real quick right here, Leo, as before we start our day. So right now, we will be witnessing the first match between LPE Eagles versus Bren Epro, followed by STIE Olympians, who we did mention was skyrocketing themselves off the charts, versus Smart Omega, who has been very consistent in the top spot as well.
I wish I could have casted that one too, but just the same, LPE Eagles versus Bren Epro. Maganda na rin tong laban na to. Again, this is a homecoming of sorts because the coach of both teams are well aware of the other's players. Actually, baliktad. Yung isa mas sentimental. Coach Panda meeting again with a majority of his gold medalist team from the SEA Games. That's a big story in itself, no? So I wonder how that's going to affect this matchup, because para sa mga hindi nakakilala, feeling ko explain muna natin sino ang nasa mga teams na to.
Indeed. And of course, we will be starting off with what you've mentioned already, which is the LP Eagles right now. So tingnan natin yung roster nila dito. We have Aspect, Jake the Dog, Arvs, Yaku, AK, Ryota, and Bimo. So as you mentioned, with the aid of Coach Panda or Coach Brian right here, we are seeing that they are slightly new, but at the same time, they already have their amount of experiences then dito sa ating tournament.
And outside, no? In their Pro-Am run, the Eagles have been known to take titles as well. Nagfa-farm sila ng experience. So now, we are at the halfway point of this season of the Nationals. I feel like it's not too late, but this is definitely going to be a giant speed bump in their road to recovery. Or at least making it into the upper half, locking themselves in for the playoffs dahil nakatayo sa harap nila. Siyempre, ba naman, ang ating how do you say, Goliath. One of the
Yes.
Goliaths, at least, who maybe just stumbled recently. That's Bren Epro.
Of course. So ito na nga, we will be seeing the rosters here for Bren Epro shortly. And of course, it's going to be Flap TZ, their newly added member Colin, Carl TZ, Hugh, Rebo, EJ, and Coco. So yeah, nakikita nyo naman na to, they've already been establishing themselves all through while with our scene. So this is not already a question of skill. It's just more on really the performance them whenever they're playing their games here sa ating league.
Yeah, no. Again, do note EJ's tattoo here is not finished. But best believe as soon as this done, if it's something worth celebrating, you will see that sleeve complete. Jokes aside, one of the things I like about this lineup of Bren Epro is that they're able to, how do we say, use a majority or activate a majority of their championship lineup from the previous professional league that was concluded. Sila ang nagkampiyon doon, season 6. But yeah, just looking at the head-to-head right here, you're looking at a David versus Goliath lineup.
Indeed. Of course, right now we are going to be at the head-to-head for both sides of our team with, as you can see, the stats right here dito sa ating screens, and of course the average win. We can see that the win rate is a bit of different, and as you mentioned, it is kind of a David and Goliath kind of play. But this is where we also get to see na, gaya nga sabi nila, the more a person is hungry, the more that they are striving to get food. And I think that is what LPE is going to plan out here. They can really utilize the vulnerability na nakita nga natin from the previous day here for Bren Epro na nanalo nga si Signal Ultra Warriors against them.
Something to note, say, you'll see here the average win time for the Eagles, very, very low. 12 minutes, 16 seconds. Nag-ML ka pa ba talaga? And that combined with their average gold per minute, I'm not sure if this is an accurate calculation or this was taken or maybe skewed from that same game na 12 minutes nga lang. This is huge average GPM, ladies and gentlemen. 21K? 21K gold per minute? Ilang items yan, di ba?
Yes.
So, put that into consideration across your 5-man that's being deployed in any given game, then you can say that Eagles have a big focus on farming.
Yeah, but of course, player comparison ngayon for both sides of our team. Once more, we have LPE BMO and of course, Bren Epro EJ. And of course, both being the supports right here, the tanky supports. And makita natin with their stats right here quickly. EJ has played at least 10 games, meanwhile BMO with 9. The average KDA, however, for both is 2.1, 2.3. Not much of a difference, just with a point. But the kill percentage or the kill participation here for EJ is a bit higher. So makikita natin, this means usually that EJ is basically present in team fights or mapa-skirmish man yan or big one. And of course, the average gold per minute right here is 606 for BMO and 523 for EJ. So there's still this huge difference then sa gold. We are emphasizing this kasi basically the earlier you get a lot of economy in their stages of the game, it only means that it's very beneficial, lalo na when actually taking the lead or taking the pace.
Yeah, no, real quick, I think the main difference between BMO and EJ is their playstyle. EJ is willing to sacrifice himself. Yan ang klaseng tangke si EJ. That's why he's known as the trusted one. No? Okay lang, mataas ang kanyang participation, pero bahagyang mas mababa ang kanyang KDA is because he suffers deaths. But compare that to BMO's playstyle, wherein, take this from his previous years in the pro scene, maybe a year or two back, maalala nyo, si BMO nagchocho, tataas yan sa 4 at 3 nangahabol sa kanya. And that was the time that Cho Tank was being a thing. So now, put that into the current metagame, mas mataas sa kanyang gold per minute is because he stays on the map a little longer and is able to farm up a little more. But that also equals his KDA a little higher kasi nga he survives more engagements. As you can see, one of their main heroes that they play differently is Baksha. Nagbaback siya dito si BMO, and of course, what do? You bait out with the Poisons and you oddly survive team fights na dapat namamatay ka na. For sure, mamamatay ka na pero biglang hindi. Yan ang style ni BMO compared to EJ, who will willingly sacrifice himself to equal greater trades, to activate Carl TZ and to allow Flap TZ as well to shine. We'll see how this works out here. BMO and EJ definitely hindi mo makikita ang masaswap out to madalas. If ever, I think EJ might be the one who will be activated, deactivated because of the existence of Rebo. May Rebo ang Bren Epro. But for LPE, I think BMO is a stalwart. BMO has to stay. He's the main tank. But we'll see if Coach Panda has something up his sleeves.
True, and I'm pretty excited to see how our games are gonna pan out kasi both of these teams have suffered loss from their previous games. So, yeah, tingnan natin how things will really go out for them. But again, I don't really want to discredit LPE here, even though they are fighting again one of the established teams that we have in the league. Kasi they have it eh. Like as you mentioned, BMO here really being basically a heavy utility para sa teammates nila. So, I don't know, maybe this type of play can work out against a Bren, especially na nakita natin na medyo na may kahinaan silang pinakita. So, Layo, I think for LPE, what do you think is the best strat for them to do to actually win the series against Bren Epro?
I think how you defeat Bren Epro is you give them a false sense of security. You give them a false sense of confidence. And maybe that's where BMO comes in. Maybe that's where you let your tank kind of, play possum. Hayaan mo isipin na, uy, pangit yung engage. Pasukin nyo. And Carl Tizzy, as amazing as he is as a player, I feel like his youth might be one of his downfalls. I'm pretty sure inaayos na yun ni Coach Ducky. Again, Flap Tizzy and Carl Tizzy, great, skilled, talented players, but they're very young. So that might be one way that LPE can leverage what advantage they have here, what possibility of theirs is here to win. No, not to say na mas mahina ang lineup ng LPE. Objectively speaking, I'm just saying it's gonna be a tough fight. So ang dapat gawin dito ng LPE is to consider, wag natin banggain head-on itong Bren Epro. It's gonna be tough that way. We have to fight on a different battlefield. Isip tayo na ibang wavelength, isip tayo na ibang approach, right? And maybe one of them is to play mind games. Another way, I think, for this to be a more interesting matchup is if Bren Epro were to win game 1 and then in game number 2 do the same exact thing. I don't know if the first few days of competition here at the National Season 2 prove this, but I feel like one of the goals for Bren Epro this season is to again have a very activatable lineup. So I think for them to do better, again, consistency is a term na parating lumalabas pag nagdi-discuss tayo ng Bren Epro, whether that be a good kind of consistency or a lack thereof. You kind of have to sacrifice the airtime or the screen time of some of your other players. So kung kailangan talaga na mag-sit out ni Colin just to really secure the win, because sometimes that is how I see Colin perform. No, I love her to death, but if you need to have few in, just have few in, right?
True.
Ganun lang talaga. Stick to as close as possible to your championship lineup para lang sanay sila, para lang magamay nila yung lineup, and execute that way. That's a pro and a con for both teams.
True. I mean, you having your sixth man right here is also one of the ways that you can really create the pace and to add spice then to the flavor. Kasi this is where the element of surprise come in for both of our teams. Pero huwag na tayo magpatumpik-tumpik pa dito, Leia, as we will be heading on to the drafting phase of our first match of our first series between Bren Epro and Laos Auto Group Playbook Esports Eagles.
As you can see, this is about as close as it gets. Tama ang ginagawa dito ng Bren Epro. I do believe they are sticking as close again as possible to their championship run. And on the other side, I believe this is also the base form of the Eagles. Now, on the play, Bren Epro, do note, they go early for a Natalia ban. This is what we would call an active ban, no, ladies and gentlemen. Tinatanggal nila to para hindi na mapili ng Eagles dahil may pinoprotektahan sila. Meron silang gustong gawin sa side ng Bren Epro na Natalia ang makakasira. So what might that be? I don't know. I feel like they're protecting here a very fragile backline, side laner, which now brings us to Brody.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Brody is still a menace, and I have seen games in the recent days I've worked na legit 5 minutes yung Brody nagpo-push tier 2.
Oh, look at that. I think they have a birthday greeting for you for the side of LPE. But you know
Oh,
what?
man.
Ayan oh, happy birthday daw to you.
No! To his son!
Oh, to his
That's
son
his
din as
son!
well. So magkapangalan din pala kayo. But you know
Yes.
what? Magka-birthday din kayo. So that
And
also
little trivia, yung anak ni Coach Panda was named after the hero Leo Mord.
Ooh, so a lot of Leos on the board for this day.
Awesome.
This is
Awesome.
nice coming in from LPE. But you know what? Let's go back into the banning phases right now. So, Natalia here, I guess, other than an active ban, ito din yung isa sa mga heroes na really had the fall of Bren Epro against Signal Ultra Warriors. So this is pretty, I think them really knowing na okay, I think the other teams might utilize this against us. So I think this is one of the things that we have to dish out of the board. But as you mentioned, Brody here is also a very menace towards both sides of our team. Pero nakikita natin dito sa ating banning phases, Hilda and Joed is going to be out of the charts as well. Knowing that Hilda has a very high chance of invades, especially with the passive that she has on the brushes, can really help with those. And napakatangkay din niya, especially with the early start or early minutes ng game. But and for Joed naman, siya yung isa sa nakikita nating napaka-threatening na initiator dito, kung regardless kung sino man ang gamit. With that ejector, pinning a player off the wall or off a terrain and just go for some free hits, ayaw mo rin talaga mangyari yun, especially sa teammates mo. Because really, casualties are important. But look at this! Banning out the Barats right here for the side of Bren Epro.
I see what Bren is doing. Saya, ang ginagawa ng Bren Epro dito, they're doing the first pick gambit. Tawag natin dito the first pick gambit. Is because what they're doing is they're leaving open the Brody, and obviously, medyo telegraph naman yung Natalia ban para maprotektahan muli ang Brody kung mailusot nila, is they're giving the Eagles the responsibility, the onus of banning Brody. Kasi kung hindi nila i-ban si Brody dito, at the first pick Brody for Bren Epro, and then the Eagles have to find a way to deal with it right now. So let's talk about real quick about the bans kanina, kasi medyo matagal pa to. Maybe seconds away. The Jawhead and the Hilda, ito yung dalawang dakilang epal. These are the two. Oh no, that's it. Brody's open, ladies and gentlemen. So Jawhead at si Hilda, pwede naman bully ng buffs. No? Tapos yun nga, maganda rin silang initiation. Ay, nako! Seiya lumusot ang first pick gambit. That's going to be the Brody. How will the Eagles answer? Woo!
This is actually pretty interesting. So, LPE will be banning, if I'm not mistaken, this is Lapu-Lapu, right? Nagkaroon siya ng makeover dito. So, this is, actually, this is nice. Because we've been seeing that Lapu-Lapu has been escalating for quite some time. But Brody here, this is pretty interesting for the side of Bren Epro, really having that gambit as you mentioned. But right now, this is also open to more heroes for the side of LPE, hovering up that Khalid pick. And yeah, usually you really pair it up with a Farsa. And this is the first two picks for LPE.
Maximum range engage yung Eagles. And it's also sort of flex. So, being in the first phase of picks, and having the strength of double picks, tas red side ka pa, sobrang lakas mo niyan. You are literally a Swiss Army knife because you can keep your cards close to your chest. Pwede mo itago yan. Technically, pwede maging tank Khalid yan, pwede maging side lane Farsa yan, and the Eagles really haven't revealed anything, but nevertheless, solid picks pa rin ito. You have maximum coverage, magandang engage mo with Raging Sandstorm, and then you have great wave clear on Khalid as well, but mostly for the Farsa. Now, the Ling and the Yuzhong. May hero na si Carl, tas may hero na rin si Flaptizi.
This is really interesting for both sides of our team, really dishing out the essential picks na nakikita natin all throughout. But man, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the matches na makikita natin ng isang Brody dito. And of course, Benedetta was already chosen by Signal Ultra Warriors from before, which was used by Rhea. So again, this is nice for both sides of the team. It's just that in terms of mastery, I'm really siding up with Ling here, especially if utilized by Carl Easy. Kasi we've already see how this hero pops up whenever he is the one using it. So balik tayo dito sa may banning phases natin. LPE gonna ban out the Valir, which is a nice one kasi it kind of really denies the showing potentials then na pwede gawin ng Bren Epro.
Yeah, that's what's missing from the Bren Epro lineup. They don't have a support and they don't have a tank. Because by the looks of it, Saya, baka side lane Brody ito. Which now all the more proves why the Natalia was banned for first ban, no? So looking at what the Epro squad could do, I think that it's definitely going to be a core Benedetta, mid lane yan. Gonna be playing like a Lancelot na mas maganda lang yung utility and sustain. For Bren Epro, I think they can choke out tanks. No, pilitin nila yung Khalid tank kasi medyo madaling shutdown ng Khalid tank eh. So, maybe I'd say, they may have missed out. But regardless, I'm hoping that they banned out maybe the Bakta. Maybe they banned out the, ano ba natitira? Kufra? Habang ligtas pa, habang masaya pa ang buhay ni Kufra. Ban those out.
True, because I think for the side of Bren Epro, they need this certain lockdown din na that can really help them whenever they're trying to really sustain the team fights na pwedeng i-initiate ng, let's say, if the Brody enters in or the Yuzhong comes in afterwards for that follow-up. So, I think for Bren Epro, they just need that lockdown as well. But we'll be going back into our phases muna because nakita natin na Bren was not able to ban out during that time. But again, just looking from the picks that they have right now, this is really looking good for the side of Bren Epro. They really used that gambit, really forced out the Brody so that ma-force adjust tong LPE kung paano nga ba sasagutin tong first pick nila. And for LPE naman, really, the range, the combo between the Khalid and the Farsa is going to happen right there. And for the thing that's really making me worry for this is that if kapag nag-lit or kapag nag-online ng husto etong si Carl TZ, because we do already know that Ling really needs to take a lot of economy first bago pa siya mag-actually pop out sa ating laro and to go for some aggressive ganks. But yun yung kinakabahala ko lang dito against LPE, but I don't want to discredit them because LPE here has also a very good amount of damage output that they can bring against Bren Epro.
Yeah, I mean, if you mean a good amount of economy as being a purple buff, then yes. I think key for Bren Epro here is if they want to activate the Ling on Carl TZ, siguro nila may purple buff sila. And I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be easier to get because wala nang Johed, wala nang Hilda. So, wala na ring Natalia. So, the possibilities of a very aggressive invade, save for if mag-high loss, no? Yung LPE, which medyo malabo na, is because one, there's a Brody on the other side, and two, medyo hindi na rin bagay sa lineup nila. Although, they did ban the Valier, so high loss might come up. Anyways, purple buff ni Ling, purple buff ni Carl TZ, that's important. If they can do that, and they can, again, live on the threat of the side lane Brody, which is just as bad as Corp. Baka nga Bren Epro game to. But then again, we don't know for sure kasi hindi pa tapos yung draft. I think we have to figure that out though.
Of course, we will be figuring that out. But for now, guys, we will be heading on to a short break. Again, we are your casters for this first match. My name is Saya, and with me is Leo. Don't go away. We are back, everyone, ladies and gents, to the Nationals once again for Mobile Legends Season 2. And ito na nga, ang drafting phase ng ating first match of our first series for this day. So, ayan, Bren Epro will be having once again the Brody, the Yuzhong, the Ling pick. And for the side naman ng LPE, Farsa, Khalid, and Benedetta.
Ooh, okay, now this makes a little more sense. Epro are forcing the Eagles to play this Benedetta as their core kasi tinatanggal nila yung Lancelot. So I think if they are gonna go down this route, tanggalin na rin nila siguro yung Yusun Shin or tanggalin nila yung Roger. One of these should force the LPE squad to stick to their guns here. Because you're right, no? Rhea, who did play the Benedetta, is a side laner. But Aspect here, this is their core. So feeling ko kung ready si Coach Panda na gawin ngang core ang isang Benedetta, then it will be alright for Bren Epro. Luo Yi taken out here by the Eagles. Alam nila na nag-Luo Yi din si Few or ang Bren Epro as a whole. But they just don't want to be hit from the back. We'll see. Bren Epro, is it gonna be a core? Para pilitin nga ang Benedetta?
I guess though. I mean that would be a good strategy for Bren Epro if ever. Kasi them forcing the Benedetta to be a core, it means that they're really placing LPE in a very reactive state. Dito pa lang sa ating drafting phase. So this can be an opportunity na pwede mag-shaken yung remaining 2 picks ng ating LPE. But for LPE naman dito, take note that Bren Epro still needs the tank that can really solidify them, especially sa team fights dito. So they can really but they were not able to actually ban out let's say the Kufra is also there in play, and as well as the Baksha, so that can be for the side of Bren Epro. Pero you know what, Bren Epro's final ban is going to be the Hayabusa right here, and as mentioned, ito na nga, nakita natin LPE will be taking out at least one of the fundamental attacks na nakikita natin na ginagamit ni Bren Epro away from them.
Yep, if BMO takes this Baksha, then almost confirmed it's going to be EJ taking the Kufra. Also, this reminds me, kasi pina-flash kanina, Akai. Akai is somewhat, bubbling up in the metagame. I have seen several situations wherein pwede kang mang-hurricane dance sa 3, 4, or sabay pa nga 2 pero back and forth. And they're gonna take another side laner. Alright, makes sense. So Khalid and Tam side laner, huli na nila yung tank, and there's the Baksha. Interesting. So they decide to go for the Baksha instead. Maybe prolong team fight.
Yes.
Sila. And then, I guess it's safe to go Kufra for LPE.
Totoo, because this Baksha also, take note, he has this certain amount of mobility then that can really help, especially kapag kinakailangan nila na responde dito if ever they decide to engage in skirmish fights. So, this is also good kasi this Baksha can target out the Farsa, who is in the backlines with the Feathered Airstrike. So, this is nice. And I like it how they complete this lineup with the Chang'o pick. Take note that this is a linear meteor showers coming in. So, pwede rin tong ipang target again with the Baksha here, with the Farsa rather, here against LPE.
Actually, gusto ko rin yung Chang'o pickup dito. Although, there was no room for the Chang'o anyways to kind of like play the rock, paper, scissors game with the Yuzhong. But, yeah, down mid, Chang'o, this is gonna give great push potential. Especially kung hindi masyadong gagalaw si Few and you let Carl TZ rotate. Now for the Eagles, oh no! Side lane nga yata, and they're gonna force this no tank lineup.
Okay,
could it be?
This is pretty interesting. So, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, so Benedetta here is going to be their core, and of course as well the sideline's going to be Esmeralda and the Thumbs right here. Tapos pwedeng mag-roam tong, wait, this is making me interested for the side of LPE right here. They have this amount of lockdown and CC as well, especially kapag ka mag-engage sila ng team fight. The thing here is, ang wino-worry ko lang dito is if Bren Epro is able to take out one of the core or damage dealers ng ating LPE, the follow-up is going to be the question in play dito. Kasi may Yuzhong dito ang Bren Epro na pwede rin for the backside. So,
yeah. The first pick Gambit is something of, how do we say, it's an all-win. Like, it is very hard. Like, para matalo mo ang isang Brody these days, either you get a Natalia or galingan mo lang. That's how I see it. So, I'm favoring Bren Epro this time.
Alright, and I will agree with you with that because Brody is found out from both sides of our team. And speaking of this last two is very picked up by two of the members of the Leon with the top side dito, napakaaga, but this is enough to give some space for Aspect and Arbs to get this tower push. Meanwhile, dito sa ating mid, that was, if I'm not mistaken, a 3 man there before them going back into their respective lanes. But look at this Ryota trying to really pin down Cartesi right here, and with that short slow break of Velp was able to get away. But you know what, Thomas is going to take him down for the kill. Di ba tapos sa LPE dito? Few with a low half health onto the side, not hesitating to go for the tower dive for Bimo and Aztec right here, and they will be taking the Chang'o down.
My question is, nagtataka ako, bakit nakarating ng ganun kalaban ni Pro without Caltizi, right? I mean, if you're gonna go diving deep like that, if you're gonna be invading, why would you not keep your core? And now I think they have gone ahead, maybe about 2,000 goals. You take Caltizi. What else could go wrong?
Indeed, and we did mention nga dito na if the purple buff escalate, it's gonna be good for Bren Epro, but the fact that LPE is just denying this fact, having this early invade potential here, and take note, Cartis is already 0-2, so this gives some space for LPE to really further up the gap in terms of economy, at dinideny talaga nila tong purple buff take against the lane.
Yep, and that's the key, ladies and gentlemen, that's the key, but if there's anything that Bren Epro could hold on to, is this side lane, Rebo against Jake the Dog on the Esmeralda. Good pick on the emblem, no? This is high and dry. So if you are an isolated hero, wala kang kakampi, then your opponent's gonna hurt you a little more. Now look at this violence, Isaiah.
Oh! Look at how they rotate right here, Leo, and really taking down the link off the board, goes onto top and takes one for themselves. And Bren Epro here attempted to do that against Esmeralda, but unfortunately, he was able to go back to safety. And with this, having 4 people doon sa baba leaves space for the top side na LPE to actually take it down. And this is just 2 minutes na ating laro. So in terms of map control, I think LPE has this around for themselves. So Rebo, a bit of overcommitment right there and will be taken down by the Forza once more.
Yep, so this is what I was saying, no? Isa sa mga sagot sa isang Brody ay galingan nyo na lang. Be aggressive across the board. Be aggressive towards the lane of said Brody and just pressure them. Walang pake yung mga team natin ngayon sa outer energy shield, outer turret energy shields.
Yes.
It's a combination of one of those words. Anyways, kita mo to, it's 3 minutes in, butas na yung top, and then 3 minutes in for even Bren Epro. They are losing this, by the way, early game. What is that? 4K gold lead for Eagles? Pero muntik na lang kunin yung bottom lane. Ganun ka-agresibo ang dalawang team na to, and that's how big these rotations are.
And speaking of aggressive, look at this BMO not really hesitating to really harass EJ there dun sa ating middle side. Kahit siya ang may, kahit na-defeat na yung health niya dito. So again, Cartesi will be opting for the issue. Take note, BMO is in the vicinity as well. Tempest Bait will be forced to use to actually save him for this fight. And again, with the help of Q being in the area as well, it's going to deny BMO from actually taking down the Cartesi. He uses his sandstorms right here to actually get further some distance. Pero napakakunat nito ni BMO with his lifesteal coming in play. So this forces them to readjust with the targets that they have right now onto the middle side. And probably will be taking down the Esmeralda with on the fly.
Yep, pero saya, walang lifesteal kung may mark of back siya. Alright, kaya napaback out doon si BMO, and the duo of Rebo and EJ were able to get 1 kill on Jake the Dog. So now we're seeing, so far, Rebo on that Brody is paying off even if they are at a disadvantageous position. Now Rebo hits it. Oh no, buti wala siya delayed damage. Helix!
Oh! Okay, that was a close call for Rebo right there, but that was a pretty good gank as well coming in from LPE dito. Kasi it was enough to actually bring Rebo back into his turf, and this is also an opening for LPE to push again one of these side lanes right here. And nabanggit mo nga, no, for Bren Epro to work this out, they have to really fortify yung side lanes nila dito. Pero the fact that yung pinaka mabilis na pacing na pinapakita ng LPE ito is very different from the usual games that they have. They're really gaining control of the early game or the early potentials dito nila. Kasi the more that they actually fortify this, and the more na talagang dinideny nila si Cartesi from actually going online, this is really looking good for them in terms of objective takes, just like what happened right now. And of course, Nakali took take control, and the Farsa for the finisher.
Yeah, so yeah, this is exactly what you said. It's both true and, you know, new at the same time. Because as you can see from our head-to-head earlier, whenever the Eagles win, they win quick, 12 minutes.
Yes.
And now, you said it is pretty new. Hindi ito nakakasanayan natin based on what we've seen from them in Season 2. It's because maybe they're trying something that they haven't done before. Maybe, Coach Panda said, guys, pedal to the metal. Walang breaks to. Diretso yun yung unahan nyo. Kasi wala tayong sagot sa Brody. Bilisan nyo na lang. And so far, it's working.
they're not giving that sort of breather for Bren Epro to actually escalate all throughout and gaining at least a bit of control for the economy. Kung titignan mo dito, they already again denied EJ for playing off the board dito, and this leaves Aspect and Dagan to really enter kahit anong fights dito with no hesitations, kahit nasa Torre man yan. Kasi look at the gap that they're already inflicting against Bren Epro here. So this really forces them to be in a reactive state.
I love it. Tank Khalid, whenever it works, it works.
Yes.
They're gonna be pushing down bottom. Items already unlocked. Jake the Dog, siya ang magsisilbing medyo mas tangke. Already has the talisman and then picks up Brute Force Breath Blast right after. So, alam mong gusto may pagbabaka ng Esmeralda na to. So, instead of like having real tanks, ang ginagawa ng LPE dito is just sustainable frontliners. Technically, Khalid with just a Cursed Helm, it should be an Oracle. I think the Oracle's coming up real soon. That's already good. 304! 304 Seiya. He's like responsible for half of the purple buff steals on Carlisi, who is definitely not having a good day. 0-0 on this lane with 0 purples.
Yes, this is one of, I guess, the fast takes of LPE right here in terms of the early game fights. And I like it how you said that they're really sustaining it in terms of fights. Kasi nakikita natin ngayon, Yuzong here will try to go for the entry, but the Feathered Airstrike is gonna pull through again with the Falling Star Moon as well. So taking a lot of shields in the process right here. Revo forces to back away. But look at this, naipit nila si Baksha dito, and of course, Benedetto will be going for the kill. And this is just really a matter of patience coming in from LPE to go inside. Kasi kung nabutas nila ang top, also actually all of the lanes right here, ang natitira na lang na nasa labas is yung nasa middle side. So in terms of map control, LP has the upper hand. So again, this is going to be another skirmish fight coming in from the inside. Again, no hesitations from the tower dives right here. And this is not all. Look at this ult coming in. The lane will be taking one back, but it's going to be another trade for the Benedetta here, taking 2-1 in favor of LP.
You mentioned the magic word, Seiya. You said patience here. When you're in a position like this, 8 minutes, 30 seconds in, lamang ka ng almost 7, 8K, iniisip mo, wala na panalo na to. Pero just the same, if ever, more importantly now, dapat may disiplina pa rin. So far, I think that still is present here on the side of the Eagles. Although they did suffer a couple of deaths already, one on Ryota recently. Ang key dito, wag lang mamatay si Aspect at si Arvs. Protect Arvs, protect Aspect, because that's more of your additional and respectable damage. And Arvs is in trouble.
That was a beautiful sandstorm and Feathered Airstrike combo coming in from the Khalid and Farsa, really pinning down Flap Easy in their long run. And nagkaroon naman sila na trade dito, taking down Arvs as well. But this, in terms of objective takes, is open for LPE to do. But Rebo and Few, right here, trying to at least shove away the minions dito sa ating kita para may konting control sila sa kanilang jungle side.
The control that Eagles have here is impressive. They have choked out important parts of the map, and because of that, I think they've mentally conditioned Carltisi to not even cross the first tier turret. Not even the river, the first tier turret. Takot na rin siya because someone might be, again, engaging from the side lanes. You have Ryota with the jump from a bush. You have the rampaging sandstorm, sobrang laki ng range. You have the falling star moon. So, binasic ni Coach Panda to. Again, on paper, it looks ridiculous, especially against a lineup that boasts Brody, the menace right now. But practice, again, gagawin nyo lang, it works.
It's true. It really does. But you know, Flap TZ has to really go back into his terrains right here. Pinapalibutan siya ng 4 na tao ng LPE dito. Will be knocked down right here. Yuzong will be taking down the Farsa. No more Feathered Airstrike for them. And that is going to be a double kill coming in from the Yuzong right here. This could be a potential comeback coming from Bren Epro. Look at that life steal coming from Flap TZ right here. Really pinning down Jake the Dog. And Aspect though tries to make things work by taking a double here, taking down Rebo and Flap Easy onto their terrains. And so right now, Few has really no choice but to try and shove away the 3 members of LP who's already knocking on their doors dito sa kanilang base.
Seiya, not just knocking at their doors, nakapasok na. Alright, binuksan yung front door. Ngayon may bintana pa. Then the dog gets one. Carltisi bites it. Ladies and gentlemen, ask him the question, what did it cost you to defend everything? And now, not even 12 minutes in, the Eagles are gonna take game 1.
This is a very dominating fight coming in from our Eagles right here, Leo. And again, this could be really the start of the momentum ng ating LPE.
Ladies and gentlemen, yun yung definition ng galingan nyo. Alright? To be fair, the draft was also quite genius. It was an engage at will kind of draft and maximum range coverage. Muli, one, you have
Okay, so again, while waiting for my co-caster right here, LPE really did a splendid job here taking control of the early phases of our game, really denying Carl Tizzy off the bat, making sure that he is going to stay on his turf right here. So the thing is, for LP, they really know their strengths pretty well. We did already see na whenever they win, they are winning in a one-sided way. Kasi 11 minutes into our time right there, 11 minutes and 4 seconds if I'm not mistaken, they've already won the round. So that means LPE really knows how to utilize or really strengthen yung early game capabilities nila dito, which really showed kasi Aspect really blossomed here with the usage of this Benedetta.
In perspective, no, as I was explaining, I kind of lost my train of thought. But back to the current setup, I keep commending and I keep talking about this first pick gambit na nalaro ni Coach Daki ang Brody na first pick. Yeah, that's easy to do because kind of force your opponent to like say, sige, mag-Brody kami o hindi. But I think Coach Panda has figured out the answer to it, ladies and gentlemen. Kung takot kayo sa Brody, isipin nyo na lang, kung natapos to ng Eagles at 11 minutes with a draft like this, na walang totoong tank, walang marksman, it's mostly fighters, mostly frontliners, then kakayanin nyo rin. I think they just had a good checklist. So yeah, they had a good checklist
really
of what to do, and then sabi nila, let's just bring the right tools for the job. One, invade the blue, or invade the purple, and then two, let's choke them out via range.
Yes.
No? Kasi ang totoong range engagement lang dito ng Bren Epro is the meteor shower and then the black dragon form.
Yes.
These are all ults, by the way. But for the Eagles, I think mas maganda yung uptime nila, mas mabilis sila na nakapag-engage. Their cooldowns are a little lower compared to what Bren Epro has to bring, and you pair that with, again, lightning fast execution, 11 minutes.
Yes.
Nagka-apel lang ako noon, 11 minutes. That just shows that the LPE squad has and I don't know what Bren Epro is going through. They seem to be in a slump.
True. And let's see how LPE was able to really get this game with a one-sided with the highlights that we will be showing you right now. So ladies and gentlemen, makita natin dito how Ryota was able to really place Carl Tizzy in a way that he is not able to really star in the early phases of our game dito. And again, Aspect and Bimo not hesitating to enter into the Chang'o here. Alam nila kasi na squishy si Chang'o doon at walang makakapag-responde. So they really will be taking that kill at early on. And going back here, no, Benedetta and Ryota as well really knows how to pin down Carl Tizzy here, not being online in the early stages.
Yeah, there's very few that, no pun intended, Bren Epro did in the early game. Ang bawi na siguro, konting mid-game, and then possibly just whatever of the early game we had in 11 minutes. Nakita natin kanina, muntik na, di ba? Lalo na nung inaasim na ni Carl Tizzy. Sabi niya, sige, nakuha tayo isa. Di ba? Arms down. Oh, isa pa. Bimo down. But from there, like, the best case scenario for them would have been a trade. But during that last team fight na malapit na rin, yeah, I think this here's that one win they had. Yeah, arms down. Tapos, papasok si Carl Tizzy. Ay, ito pa pala yun. Yan. Arms down, papasok si Carl Tizzy, tapos siya rin mamamatay kasi may delayed damage.
Yes.
It was scary. Yeah, here's one potential turnaround.
This could have been it kasi nandun na yung footing ng Yuzhong kanina. It's just that, again, for the side of LPE, they really focus on sustainability and basically yung survivability nila in whenever they're engaging in team fights right here. This is one of the things that I'd like to point out, no, for the side of LPE into really winning this game around. They really know how to use the versatility of the heroes that they've chosen. para makasurvive sila ng matagal. Not necessarily being tanky all throughout, but the way that they can be crunchy in game is also essential. And with this, the MVP of our game is going to be Vimo with the usage of the Khalid. 317 on the KDA board with a kill percentage of 56%. So above average majority of the fights he was present there with the hero damage of 28,482. Turret damage rate also really made some contributions into pushing the lanes right there. And damage taken, really, as at this point you wouldn't really mind taking a lot of damage so long as it's very, very beneficial for your team, lalo na kapag pumapasok sila.
I love it. Bimo showing us a little bit of diversity. The gameplay style he showed us nung previous seasons of the professional leagues of Mobile Legends. Again, yun nga, kaya niya makatakas, coming in as a tank, tapos mabubuhay pa. This time, he's the aggressor. You know, the prey is now the predator, and it looks like the Eagles are bound to soar high. I don't know if this is just game 1 and baka mabawi ang Bren, but this is just too dominating. I wonder if the first pick gambit, if the draft was just a little too tricksy, if it was a little too flashy, no? Hoping that it's not, because I really want to see LPE here grab a foothold of their play style. Hoping na magandang birthday gift to sa anak ni Coach Panda. Just letting that out there. But again, we all expect more from Bren Epro.
Of course, but we will be seeing that if ma-force nga ba ng Bren Epro on game number 3, or will LPE use this vulnerability that Bren Epro is showing us right now when we come back for game number 2 of our first match. Again, this is your caster. My name is Seiya, and with me is Leo. Don't go away. At muli tayo nagbabalik dito sa The Nationals MLBB Season 2. Kami ang magiging casters nyo for this first series. My name is Seiya, and with me once again is Leo.
That was an impressive game 1 from LPE, beating even their own average win time of 12 minutes, 6 seconds. Something about that record. Nasa 11 minutes lang ang linaro nila kanina laban sa Bren Epro. And who'da thunk na ang sagot sa isang Brody ay bilisan nyo na lang. Okay? Like, I did not expect for the simplest solution to be the best solution in that case. So now really, Coach Ducky and Kapitan Few, the rest of Bren Epro, they find themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place. So kung hindi gumana ang ating first pick gambit, what do we do now? Do we go back to the standard? Nalusot natin yung Ling, nalusot natin yung Chang'e. We have full choice of tanks in the metagame, maybe save for the Hilda and the Jawhead. Ano pa pwede natin gawin? Now you can see here, ang unang sagot ng Bren Epro, tanggalin mo yung Benedetta.
Understandable, since gaya nga na nabanggit natin from during our break right here, is that Aspect is really setting a new standards sa paggamit ng Benedetta pick right there. Oh, sige, recap tayo. Rhea was able to use the Benedetta, but Aspect here just setting a whole new bars high for this specific hero. At take note, isa din to sa mga hero that really made Bren Epro perform in a downward slope. So this is understandable. This is basically a respect against Aspect right there. So right now, para naman dito sa LPE, they are going to ban out the Selena alongside with the Barats. Not really discrediting yung potentials din ng early game aggression netong dalawang heroes na ito.
And again, that's all Bs, ladies and gentlemen, taken out. Barats, Brody, and Benedetta. So we have ourselves a ball game. Well, a more fair game. Kasi sa totoo lang, these new heroes, they're just really super strong. It could be that, Seiya, or maybe it could also be because we just haven't figured out an answer to them yet. I don't know, which one is it for you personally? Because I think it's that. Hindi pa lang natin sila naaral masyado. And parang, grabe naman, lakas naman yan. Or is it really just their mechanics?
Para sa akin, I'll go with the first one na talaga we don't really have that much information enough yet to face these recent heroes that we have. So I think with them having a little more tweaks to fully understand the mechanics of these heroes, paunti-unti makikita natin kung paano sila ma-outplay. And I think that that one thing that can really add up to the books was really denying that Brody coming in from Rebo no game number 1 natin. So the triple Bs are not gonna be in play right here, Leo. No Barats, no Brody, no Benedetta. So again, Natalia is not gonna be on board as well. Kasi kahit sabihin natin Natalia was the one that really shaken the momentum of Bren Epro from previously, you can't really deny na kaya din nilang gamitin tong Natalia pick na to. So this is a nice ban from LPE, but for the side of Bren Epro, they don't want that range combo once again coming in from that Forza and Khalid. So at least take one off the bat and remove Forza.
Yeah, I like what Bren Epro is doing. They are doing a combination of, sige, we will ban out the heroes we believe we should ban, and just one piece of the formula that gave you guys an 11-minute win earlier. They're showing na hindi sila ganon ka na-shock. Okay? Parang, sige guys, kalma lang, kalma lang. Parang Signal Ultra, kalmados lang. And then, we'll go from there. Now, the Eagles, this is an awesome use of their first pick advantage.
Yes.
Picking up the Jawhead, just in case, pero as it is, pwede pa rin namang mang-asar tong Jawhead na to eh. Kahit na yung Ling mapunta sa kabila, pero sila na rin ang naka-secure alongside the Khalid from earlier. Maybe, no, this is actually gonna be side lane Khalid for sure. Kasi nga, may Jawhead na tayo. So now, onto the side of Bren Epro, it's the Yuzhong, side lanes are set.
Okay. And I like it how they really used or they really chose Jawhead dito. Kasi nakita natin, game number 1, early game potential is really in the hands of LPE. So them really choosing si Jawhead na sinabi nga natin na it's a very annoyance to the opposing team kapag meron ngang Jawhead dito. It kind of basically fortifies talaga eh. Yung aggression na meron na ang LPE. So this is a very nice pick coming in from them. But this time, they will be securing lane for this game number 2 dahil nga nawala na si Benedetta because of naban nga away ng Bren Epro. Ling is also a good choice. This is also a deny coming in from Cartesi. But you know what? We do see that Cartesi is very versatile, a very versatile hero. He can really play a core or could be from the side lanes as well. So dito din natin makita kung are they still sticking to their stones, if Cartesi is going to really stay as their core, which I'm pretty sure they will. Kasi you really wanna get like all of your cards possible dito eh, para sa side ng Bren.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, side lane Cartesi, maybe not, but it'll come down to his hero choice. And who is still out there? Lancelot. May alam ba ang Eagles? Bakit nila binuksan ng Lancelot? Why are they letting this happen? Lancelot is open, ladies and gentlemen, not banned. Great pickup though on the Hilda ban and the Claude ban para yung choice of Claude is safe. But now is Yakai. Pwede to. I like this. I like the Yakai. So, ihuhuli nila yung hero ni Cartesi.
This is a nice
YSS.
Yeah.
Roger, pwede pa.
This is a nice discipline for Bren Epro kasi you don't really want to counter out kung ano yung pwedeng hero para kay Cartesi dito. So this is good that they left it out at last pick. And as you mentioned, Akai here starting to really escalate into our meta, especially when pinning down these cashier targets for LPE right here. Let's say yung mage nila. And at the same time, can be the Ling. Kung if he managed to place the ult of Akai in a proper way. Sabihin natin nag-Tempest Blades tong si Ling. Tapos biglang mau-ult ni Akai. That could be a good call. But again, timing is the essential part of this when using the Akai. And as you mentioned, Lancelot is open and up for grabs, and that is going to complete the composition of Bren Epro.
There it is. Some things just don't come as a surprise anymore kasi in-expect na natin yan. Pero napag-recover pa rin naman kahit papano ang LPE Eagles. I I'm curious with the Hayabusa. That's gotta be a Hayabusa, right? That's a skin. With an execute?
Hayabusa with it. So this is very, very interesting lineup for Bren Epro. Sure, they already have Cartesi as their core, but having Hayabusa as well, I guess this is more on the follow-up, especially...
No, this is LPE. LPE has
LPE,
Hayabusa.
sorry, rather. LPE, sorry. So they also have that certain amount of follow-up then. So I think they are just really fortifying both their early game aggression and yung pinaka-finisher nila when it comes to the skirmish fights. Because I guess, hindi natin may nakatakas, but there is also the Hayabusa at play. So, really interesting for both of our teams.
I really like how the lineups of LPE are just leveraging the fact na malakas sila pag silang aggressor and malakas sila pag meron silang momentum. I'm hoping that this works out because if not, Carl T's gonna make them pay. Again, opening up the Lancelot, I could have sworn. Feeling ko nasayang yung Claude eh. Dapat hindi Claude ban yun eh. Just let the Claude through, ban Lancelot, and ban Hilda. I think that would have been a better choice. But then Akai is still around. So yeah, Akai, Lancelot, magaling din naman si EJ mag-Akai eh. So I feel like Bren here has a really good chance of evening the odds. But I also kind of like LPE bringing back Hayabusa into the meta game as we go into game number 2. Feeling ko mas matagal to. That's the kind of prediction I'm gonna say. I can't give a score, legit, kasi binigla tayo ng LP kanina eh. So, if anything, I will say that this game will last a little longer than game number 2. That's for sure kasi alam na ng Bren ang gustong gawin ng LP.
Agree. And of course, with this, we are heading on to our second game of our first series, which is of course under the supervision and regulation of the Games and Amusement Board. And looking right here into our triple cameras right now, we are seeing a 3-1-3-1 lineup for both sides of our teams, but both of them not really making a move in terms of potential invades. Pero ito na, mukhang sisilip dito si EJ sa kanilang purple buff, trying to at least do a similar play, denying any buffs coming in from their core. But I look at this, Aspect is going to go into the orange buff first, and this is going to make Bren Epro at least go back into their fundamentals to get the economy right. Okay, so right now we are seeing right here that both of our teams just really poking each other out. Not much of action is happening through, but Rebo really with the low break of health right here against Ryota was able to dash away, but the first spot is gonna go to Khalid dito, but Aspect is going to have some space in getting that purple buff in return. So this is pretty good for LPE taking the first blood. And right now here, we are seeing that Arvs is going to be at least depleted by a half health against Latizi and company dito, but this is also enough of the time for LPE to really respond. They don't really want that casualty away from their side.
Yep, surprising no, na napapagana pa rin ng Eagles ito because as Bren Epro, I was expecting they would play a little safer. But right now, as you can see, Cartesi already ended up in the top lane. First blood being scored onto Rebo. I actually expected Flap to be using this Lapu-Lapu. Pero yun nga, mas siguro gamay ni Flap ang Yuzhong, and Rebo is the eternal Swiss Armides. Engaging with the Tempest of Blade sa baba, Flap easy with a defensive Black Dragon form.
Okay, luckily though, Aspect was able to escape that dive kahit sila nga naman yung nag-commit doon, because you don't really want to give some space for Bren Epro to actually escalate their economy here. So this is good call for Arvs using the Meteor Showers to shove away the Lancelot into going back into his turf. So again, with our side lanes right here, wala masyadong action because both of our teams really need the resources that they need. But look at this coming in, a deep pressure for EJ. It really will take a lot of damage from that Chango and the quite right here. Sandstorm is going to be in play, but it's not going to connect to anyone, so this is going to force them a disengage and will be opting for the objectives instead. Pero many people are in the vicinity. Meanwhile, onto the bottom side, tamang haras lang dito para hindi nga sila makapag-push through. But look at that, Ejector is gonna come through for Pew. Uses the flicker right here, and Armin is gonna free hit, tries his best, and they will be getting that kill, but that's the trade coming in from the Valier. Tempest Blaze will be used, but it's not gonna connect to anyone right here. EJ tries to go in, but luckily did not connect to Ling and was able to go for that disengage.
What's happening essentially is Bren Epro, nagpapakagat sila. Essentially, sinasabi na sa Eagles, sige, aggressive kayo. Sige, papasok kami ng konti. And that's the story here. Look, EJ finding the Hurricane Dance onto Ryota. Pero si Ryota lalaban. He actually wins it. Rampaging Sandstorm into the first skill, going back and forth, babagsak ang Lapu-Lapu, and EJ is gonna retreat. Wow! Eagles lost the battle in mid, pero mukhang may bawi sila sa taas.
The fact that the Khalid was able to really survive in that 2v1 fight is really one of the keys for LPE. So Bimo here is going to eject the orange buff, I think, for distraction. But that's what will be using his ult right here, coming from the Shove of the Valier, and we will be the one to finish the life of Bimo back there. Pero mukhang babawi dito ang LPE as they will be shoving into the bottom side, but it's not really enough to get the Yuzhong since he is deeply hugging that tower over there. So this is going to make things go back once more, getting economy and defending the towers that we have. So Lancelot again will be trying to at least harass them into thinking na baka they will be going in for some engagements. Pero you know what, I think no, actually not I think. It is quite easy having the discipline on not doing so. So Hayabusa will be using his Shadow Clones right here. Hurricane Dance is not gonna connect to him right there, but it's enough to really defeat himself. And of course, that is an entry coming in from Jake, the dog, to end his life.
Yep. Saya, I'm wondering, anong kinain ng Eagles ng breakfast? Anong kinain nila? Coach Panda, kwento mo naman kasi gusto ko rin yan. They have won 2-on-1 duels already. Hold up, nice take by few there. Pero legit, di ba? They have taken two on 1 duels already. Top and then bottom. And already, this should give Bren Epro an idea na okay, LPE here, hindi na sila magpapagulang. And there's a second turtle taken.
Okay, that was a good steal coming in from the Lancelot right there. But that was also a nice attempt for LPE to actually contest and force the issue. But look at this, Yuzhong was able to really pin down the Chang'o and go for that take. And with the low health coming in from the Khalid right here, I saw that Jahid tries to push him away, but that's not really enough to really save him to death. And again, Cartesi, this is now an opportunity for him to go inside. Look at this, ejector is gonna be used, but Hayabusa is going to take one. A trade coming in from Lapu Lapu right here, and this is a disengage. But look at this, Laptisi, I think will try to go in for us with that low health, but you have to take note that he can go into the terrain. So this is nice call coming in from Bren Epro to just disengage and focus once more into getting towers first, because I think that's what they need in order to gain that control.
So far, already na yung science na mas matagal nga ang laban na ito kaysa dun sa kanina. Flapinzi, gonna get caught with an ejector, palikod. There's the unstoppable force. Flapinzi survives though. Arvs still gonna continue. EJ disengaging with the Hurricane Dance. Ay nako, Aspect. Here comes the Tempest.
Okay, Tempest Blades will be used to really clean up Yuzhong away from the board. And again, with their Yuzhong out, this forces them to disengage once again. You know why? Kasi you don't want to afford casualties right here, especially with LPE bringing in the momentum. Sure, Bren Epro also has their spotlights here. They are able to take down people there, especially when alone. Nakita naman natin, di ba, nakabawi yung Valier doon, taking down the Lapu Lapu. But the thing is, the way that LPE rotates at this point and engaging in the skirmish fights like this one, once again, not really hesitating to go into the tower dive, but the Yuzhong was there in the vicinity, so they decide to just transition themselves into middle here. They are seeing that Arms is in danger. Meteor Shower is going to reach to throw them all away. Look at this, Johnny will be going inside, and then the space will come through. Not gonna connect to anyone. EJ will be Hurricane Dancing Aspect, but it's only to show him away. And that was actually a close call, because if Joyd was able to eject one, that could have been a game for LPE.
Yup, pero hindi pa tapos. Lisida, Ryota with the Rampaging Sandstorm. Aspect still face poising in. Few medyo mababa. Few still dealing some damage and backing out at the same time. Turtle here. They're just safe pa rin. Bren Epro has a good claim at this. But there's the Meteor Shower. Kaltisi looks low with the Phantom Execution surviving. There you go. Binok si Ryota pa harap. And now Ryota with the one. Dealing quite a bit of damage. Execution, Phantom, Torn Rose by Kaltisi. And there's the first Turtle by Aspect, but at what cost? Yung baba ng buhay na Aspect, Tempest of Blades palayo, dash out. Okay.
That was just
trading. They keep going back and forth.
Actually, that's true. And you did mention na mas matagal nga talaga to, because both of our teams already know what is up and how are they going to engage in the fights. But I like it how every little thing is being used, every skill for both of our teams. It's just that Cartesi here, we're starting to see him really go into the limelight right now, abusing the low healthy people coming in from LPE. So again, another Jector will be pinning down Cartesi with the Meteor Shower, and the Raging Sandstorm will be having that kill.
So far, ladies and gentlemen, the story of the series is Khalid is amazing. I still am yet to understand why Jake the Dog chose the Hayabusa here. Feeling ko ano siya eh, parang sagot sa Lancelot para maghahanap ng target yung shadow kill, and then when Lancelot does come out of his invulnerability frames, may damage pa rin si Jake the Dog. That's just, you know, my theory here. But so far, both teams are staying neck and neck. We're approaching 10 minutes and there's barely a 500 gold difference between them. Saya, one key that showed me here that Bren Epro is in it for the long haul at hindi sila mag-aasim and they are gonna fight for game number 3 here is because nice Hurricane Dance daw by EJ kaso walang damage output. It's because hindi nila siya na-choke the aspect.
And speaking of that, knockups all through and through for both sides of our team. Yuzhong is going to use his dragon there to actually shove the members away, while Aztec is going to be pinned down by 2, make it 2 members of Bren Epro. Cartesi onto the chase. Aztec will try to go into the terrains right here to safety, but it's Few and the gang will be trying to pin him down and finally get the kill here onto the bottom side, but that is going to at least buy some time for the other members to go to safety.
Nako, nalugi yata. Nalugi yata doon si Kuya mo Aspect. He chose to dive in, use the Tempest of Blaze in a defensive manner. Sure, you got the kill on EJ, but was it worth it? You lost Jake the Dog, you lost Aspect, and it was pretty much a free kill for Cartesi. So far, Cartesi looking great in this game. 4, 1, and 4. Already, nag-push na ang Bren Epro dito, mid and bottom. But note, hindi umaalis si Jake dun sa bottom lane. Kanina pa tinatrabaho. Kaya, konti na lang, inhibitor na lang titira dun sa bottom. Which is good for the Eagles. I think they should stay the course here and kind of fix the way that they engage and they make decisions like that. Wag nang mag-asim si Aspect kung si EJ lang din ang mamamatay. Wag siyang gigil.
I have to agree. They have to at least take a chill pill kapag magko-call sila na shots dito. But look at this, trying to really harass BMO here and applying pressure dito sa ating middle side, which is a good call for Bren Epro because they already have this certain amount of control dito sa ating mapa. So the options for taking the Lord is open. But I think the strategy here for Bren Epro is to take down 1 or 2 members of LPE whenever they will try to attempt in winning a skirmish fight para at least secured na ang pagtitake nila ng Lord dito. And yeah, pretty good for LPE here to just staying their grounds, not overextending kasi they know already the dangers, especially with Cartesi and his damage output.
So far, I think Lord is a little easier of a take for Bren Epro because I do believe yung Eagles ngayon natatakot na sila eh. Kasi I can see now in the way Aspect is moving is he would rather stay away from the fights rather than chase him earlier. But now look at this EJ with the Hurricane Dance, knocking down si Jake the Dog. And that's going to be a free turret push while BMO can only watch. Saya, this is starting to look dangerous because that was a defensive objective if I've ever seen one. And medyo natrap na yata si BMO dito. That's 4-on-1 rampaging Sandstorm pushing in the back. Take it away!
Okay, so that was a beautiful answer coming in from the Kali. But take note once more, Leo, that this is used defensively para makasurvive si BMO doon. And Chang, with that meteor showers to at least put on some harassment doon para hindi na sila mag-push through with the fights that Brent initially planned out. So this is back to them getting the economy. But look at this! Ejected si Cartesi dito into the terrains of LPE but was not able to take the follow-up damage for him to be off the board. And you know what? Cartesi uses his ult to dash out but goes back into the game anyway. And look at this, ejector was again to be used pero corner dito si BMO right there with all of that gas to happen not yet overtime. This place will be used to trade in the Valier, but that is, I think, enough for LPE to just disengage and do not force the issue because another casualty can really mean big for Bren Epro in pushing the lane.
Yep, 1-for-1, BMO for Few. I call that a wash. Feeling ko fair naman yon. And if anything, lamang pa yata ng bahagya ang Bren Epro. That is the engagement or one of the better engages para matarget talaga si Cartesi or si Few dito. But then again, Few is out. So, again, it's closer to a wash, but Bren Epro a little more ahead here if only not the Eagles were more mobile. Tignan mo, ang bilis mag-rotate ni Jake the Dog at syempre naman, Finch Poise dito ni Aspect. I gotta say, Arvs on this Chang'e, feeling ko antay tayo lang konti and then he will turn more into a core. But right now, it's more about managing the waves, clearing them up. Now Bimo catches out Rebo, dyan ka muna. Oh no, hindi trouble,
Okay.
flicker out.
Oh, I figure out what was able to be stunned by the Valier. And here, look at this, the entry coming in from the Lancelot. And Valier's just gonna go for the kill. Hurricane Knight once again will be pinning down Ryota here with 3 members of Bren Epro actively to showers to try to at least have that positive reinforcement. But hindi kaya, hindi sapat. And look at this, Lancelot will be having a trade of his own. But the Hayabusa is just gonna end things through with Chang'o there with following up of that damage. Tempest Blaze right here to compensate for that loss. And he's just gonna take Valier down, and an opening to take the Lord for the side of LPE. They managed to turn the tables around.
Oh, Seiya, this is going to be the most free Lord they'll ever have in this game so far. 15 minutes in. That's the first Lord for the Eagles. And finally, I could have sworn Aztec was not gonna make it. Pero buti na lang naspatan niya. Hindi ko alam kung minarkahan nga ba or maganda ang communications ng tropa ng LPE. But they did say, Aspect, nandyan si Rebo, ay nandyan si Few, nandyan yung Valier, pasukin mo. And of course, he had the ult, he had energy to spare, and they got it. An amazing 3-for-2 sweep leading into the Clutch Lord here marching up top. Now, the key for Bren Epro here is 1, defend Lord, and 2, maybe leverage this this minion wave down bottom. Pero sasagutin ni Aspect yan eh. So I think their first key here to stabilizing, equalizing this matchup is to clear the waves and save this mid lane turret. Kaya tatlo ang nakaalat dito na defenders.
I agree with you on that. And they also have to take note as well of Aspect going into the backlines, especially now that LPE is really applying pressure to actually most of our lanes. But they will be sticking into the top side here with a lot of population coming in. Hayabusa for the entry right here against Yuan. Papasok na rin ang ating members. Digester coming in from EJ. Will be taking them down. Actually, no, EJ is going to survive getting onto the base, but that is enough to open up the tower on the top. And look at this, Ling just really going all out, taking down the one, but the Yuzhong for the trade, and the low help coming in from the Bimo and company is going to force them to back away, which is a good call. But look at
Wait
this,
lang,
Carl Easy.
Nag-a-asem si Carl. I mean, alam niya naman kung sino nandun, but if Bimo, look at this, say, think about this, if Bimo was still there somewhere, tapos si Ryota and Arvs, if they get it right, they could have cleaned up house and maybe pop the immortality. But again, at least EJ is here, the enforcer, the trusted one. Maganda ang turnaround ng E-Pro. But yeah, the deed is done. Nabutas na yung top and bitin ng one hit yung mid.
But you know, it's still also enough for another entry coming in from dito once more if they are able to get the stakes into their favor. And as you mentioned nga, no, enough to actually prop that immortality against Cartesi. But they knew the risk of taking it na pwedeng mabaliktad kasi ni Cartesi yun. So they don't wanna force that issue. And speaking of forcing the issue right here, Ryota will be forced, if I'm not mistaken, he used his flicker to go back into the lanes. But look at this, Yuzhong will be using his mobility once more, meteor showers to at least get, but not gonna connect much to anyone. Hayabusa with that entry shadow, but it's really gonna just go for the disengage. So this pins down Bren Epro in depleted health. Hurricane Dance used defensively to go back into the fight. And again, this is really tight spot in engaging air fights right here, but Yuzhong is gonna take that trade anyway. Will be taking down the lead, not over though, and this is a good call for LPE to back away. Wala si Ryota sa board, so they need to wait for 40 more seconds before he spawns, and this is an opportunity for them to defend. They can't afford any casualties at this point because if they do, this is an opening for Bren Epro.
So ang mantra ng Eagles dito, defense. They're gonna lose this turret, no doubt. But I think it's still somewhere in the cards here to save mid as well. Baka hindi sila mabutas. Hold up
Right here. Look at this, knocking down muli. But I think that was enough to block the immortality. Actually, no. They are going to take down 2 members of LPE. Jake the Tog will be forced to back away. Lancelot, easy with no hesitations of going in. Will be propping up that immortality. But the Chang'o is gonna go for the finish. And look at your Aspect though, was able to eradicate all of that remaining towers that Bren Epro has dito. So a lot of pressure. This forces now Bren Epro to back away as we have witnessed doon. And this is a good entry for LPE right now to go for the response.
Oh wow, Aspect made the perfect call. That was legitimately either all in or nothing. At
Yes.
sabi ni Aspect, sige, bubutasin ko na yung bottom, declare ko na yung wave, na-out ko na yung orange. And Jake is taken out by Flap TZ. This is Bren Epro holding on. They have taken a few hits. They have been rocked, but they're still in it. And now, for the Eagles, I gotta say, medyo delikado.
Yes.
Itong Lord na ito, Carl TZ is coming on in 3 seconds. Medyo nandito na yung tropa ng Bren Epro. This might actually be another Lord for Bren, I'm not sure.
Depends if they are able to have that successful steal. Look at the Sandstorm is going to be used, and that means Showers will go through it through. Will be taking down the Akai right here. And look at this crowd control coming in from LPE right now. It took a little bit of time in taking Lapu-Lapu, but it is enough to defeat the members of Bren Epro down to 2. So only 3 members remaining that is alive on Bren. This is an opening now for LPE to get the Lord. But as mentioned, Carl TZ is alive. That potential retribution can still be in play. But they are not gonna let that happen. Ejector though was not gonna connect to Carl TZ, but in that minion. But again, enough to really push him away.
Yep, check out the items, no? Few just bought himself a Twilight Armor, ladies and gentlemen. Naintindihan ni Few na parati siyang tatargetin ng mga pwede mag-dive sa backline. With the dog aspect, as long as we can get rid of the Valier, it's all good in the hood. Now, easy looking low! Aspect takes him down! Never the blade para mag-disengage! Saya!
Okay, hindi pa tayo tapos. Will be taking a trade, taking down lane right here, but that is good reinforcement for LPE now to take the remaining members. But that is a double kill coming in from the Yuzhong Chang'e. Will be having that shutdown at hindi pa siya matatapos dito. All of that damage coming in from Arbs is being used really well for the side of LPE right here, and they still managed to survive and deny this Lord take coming in from Bren Epro and para mapunta sa kanila. And look at this! The minions into the base enters. So this forces them now to just stay there, wait for them to actually get these. And look at this right now. Ryota unfortunately was alone. Hindi niya kakayanin i-take yung Lord ng solo. But Arbs is also there in the vicinity. I like it though how EJ is there to monitor their move, I think, with a potential steal. But you know what? Bimo is just gonna enter here as well.
Yup, ang story nitong Lord na ito is paunahan, marating ang core. In comes Carl TZ, in comes Aspect. Let's see who's gonna get it. Kaya sa retribution dito.
Oh, look at that. Coming from the redrive right in front. He was going to entry. EJ is going to corner up 2 members of LPE, but I think that's not enough to take them down as a casualty. Look at this. Revo here will be taken down as well as Ling onto the backline. Staircase down as well. Si EJ doon, and this is just a lot of opening now for LPE to go inside their base.
Okay, saya 3 defenders for Epro plus a Lord. Kompleto ang Eagles dito. The key here is for the Eagles to not lose their damage. And Ryota, he's in very thin ice. Medyo delikado.
With the life steal at Ryota, was able to get in, managed to stay alive, but not for long, as said by wrong right here. Hayabusa with that entry of his shadows, but this is enough to really disengage them once more. I love it how LPE is just being patient right here, not being too greedy. Kahit sabihin nating 3 members lang ng Bren ang nandito sa ating board.
I like it. Ang priorities talaga ng Bren Epro, ng Eagles is to, sige guys, hindi natin natapos, nakapagdepensa tayo, maganda na sana yon, 3 defenders left, but we'll just take what resources we can. Few with the steal in your face ng purple. Wow!
Whoa, that was just sneaky plays coming in from Few there, just taking away an economy na dapat sana mapupunta sa LPE. But again, do not fret for the side of Eagles. But you know what? This is, I think, one of the most intense fights na makita natin maglaro ang LPE. They really know when to place their timing here. It's just that this time, they have the discipline enough to call whether it's an engage or a disengagement fight.
And what I say, guys, this is gonna be a game longer than game number 1, and we're approaching the point kung saan times 2 na siya ng length, and I expect no less from both of these teams. Bren Epro wants to recover. The Eagles still want to do more, and Bimo and Carl TZ see each other, and they are stickering. Now, Carl TZ knows he can't engage, pero alam kaya ng Eagles na nandito si EJ at si Few. Delikado yan.
Yes, and they really have to be careful whenever they try to scout out the areas of our map, because Bren Epro here can have a good strategy in giving the element of surprise. And look at that, Meteor Shower's just gonna leave Cortese at least going back into our base to regain some of his health. But Let's see how LPE is going to utilize this time that they have right now. So EJ already has the information na 2 or 3 members rather are into the middle side. So he just will just tell his members na okay, sige, may mga members dito, but they are gonna transition here into the bottom side. So Flat Easy is gonna use his ult in defense.
Yep, we'll see counter now on the Black Dragon form. Maganda yung half dragon, no? Para
Yeah.
mag-clear ng waves, but it only lasts so long. And here we go now, the fight is fair. It's gonna be a fight in the jungle.
Sandstorm will be used once again for that edge right there. Flat Easy will be going in as well. Timeless base, however, is going to be over. Not gonna connect to anyone, and that is going to defeat their help by a long shot right here. So Jake the Dog is trying to go in and out and will be taking down Flat Easy. This is going to be an essential fight for the LPE right now as they will be taking down one of their core dives. Look at this aspect on this backdoor, however, will be trying to actually defeat the help of the base, and this is not over. Sandstorm once again will be used, and the Dragon Form is gonna be hovered by Yuzhong right here in hopes of taking down one. The low health are coming in. Akai will be taking off Hayabusa off the map, and this again forces LPE to disengage. But that was actually close call kasi I think they're planning to distract the members of Bren Epro here just so that Aspect can have an opening to get the base.
Pero Saya, I feel like that was too much of a gambit. Masyado pang maaga para gawin yun, and kulang sila ng waves. Maybe if it was 2 waves crashing in from top and bottom, tapos kasama si Aspect, then maybe you leave in 5 seconds, a solid 5 seconds, and we might have a case. We might have game number 2 in the bag. But that just wasn't it. Yung laban masyadong malapit doon sa base ng Bren Epro. Kaya kahit wala si Carteezy, kayang sumagot. Maganda pa rin, relatively, ang board wipe, ang clear ng Bren Epro. You have few, and you still have Rebo, who is a better duelist, but is an okay wave clearer. So right now, reset sila. Dahil may Lord, tig-isa na sila. I think this next one should make the difference. Whoever gets this Lord here, kahit na lamang ang Eagles dito, on the map, I'd say, Bren Epro, if they get this Lord, could just finish wherever lane they choose.
Okay, this is pretty risky for the side of Eagles with Ling being absent. But look at this, Hayabusa is gonna compensate with that and depleting the health of Flat Easy. But look at this, the life steal capability to him is just too real. At this point, at nagpapagulo lang dito si Aspect that the space can be used for Rebo. But actually, that's a good call. Kasi it was forced to dish out the temple space of Ling. Kasi ngayon pa lang siya papunta dito sa ating Lord side, and him without having that ult means that he has to reset the cooldown bago siya bumalik ulit in ever may mangyayaring teamfight.
Yep, and looking where this next team fight might happen, if it happens close to Lord, that's good for Eagles. Kasi, again, Aspect can just do this. Pwede sila manggulo. If they manage the waves right, they can do what plan to do anyways. And if they can, again, backdoor, that's what we call it, guys. Backdoor para patayin mo yung base ng wala yung laban, na wala dun yung minions mo, wala dun yung mga kampi mo. Then, kung magawa nila yun habang wala pa si Lord, then lamang. But right now, I think there's a big team fight happening. It's gonna be decided by this.
Okay, Sandstorm's gonna be used. Not gonna connect to anyone right here, but this is a good aggression coming in from LP. Decides to give up on the Lord and actually take down Rebo of the map. So, with -1 sa Bren Epro, this could be a potential Lord take for LPE. But Bren Epro, knowing this, they are also going to stay in the vicinity for that steal attempt. And take note, buhay pa si Carteezy dito. Pwede niyang i-retribution yung Lord dito if ever the situation deems fit. And so right now, sinisimulan na ng LPE to abusing the fact that Rebo is off the board. So that's kind of like a minus for them in terms of crowd control. But speaking of crowd control right here, look at this. Carteezy is going to back away for now. Ryoto with the low health but still has the immortality though. So the Lord here trying his best for the Chango to actually go and inflict some damage. But they managed to shove away Bren Epro right here. And finally, the Lord has been taken for the sides of LPE.
Grabe, Seiya, that's a 2 or 3 layered Lord take. 1, managing the lane, top lane, para may mapilitan kang sumagot doon. 2, you picked out at least 1. May isang kulang sa kanila, so kulang sila sa manpower, right?
Yes.
So they have 4 members. They have to send someone up, and then they have to send someone to defend against you and to clear waves. And then lastly is parating may nakabantay kay Lord. If you did that the wrong way, na-reset yung Lord na yan. And you would have had to start from square one. Now, the fact that the Eagles have executed means isa pa silang libreng Lord. And now, they can just pressure all the more. At this point, we're approaching 30 minutes. Sobrang kunat ng Lord na ito.
Yes.
I feel like Epro has to pull something from somewhere. Dahil ito na, this is the defense of
Okay. So Lord is gonna enter the door. Jekker's gonna be used against EJ right here. So uunahin rin yung head from Bagamitan against Evo going to collect. But look at the fire within shadows will be depleting the health of Bren Epro. Kaido will be taking down the lead of the map. But it's enough for the Lord to go for the entry. And game number 2 goes to LPE.
Impressive. This game, this series right here shows na ang Eagles, hindi lang sila pang mabilisan. Pwede rin silang pang matagalan. That was a 30-minute game, Seiya. And they showed us many aspects of the fundamentals that you have to play at the highest level of Mobile Legends. No? Pinakita nila na okay, Ling ako, kailangan ko masigurado na meron akong purple buff. When you can win side lane duels, you win the side lane duels. And then, ito talaga yung pinaka-impressive para sa akin. Yan Lord take na yan, kakayanan namin yan. It's going to be a multi-layered take, alright? Okay lang kahit na disembodied voice ako, masaya pa rin ako. This is a great happy birthday gift to Panda and his son Leon. Happy birthday ulit. 2-0 against Bren Epro. Wild! That, I mean, okay lang yun, doesn't matter, but more for LPE.
Indeed. And you know what? This just proves that LPE is showing us new colors to their strategy. Kasi kung makapansin mo from the early days that we have seeing them, they did good. They were able to actually have the faster games whenever they are winning. But right now, they set us new set of standards in using the Benedetta. And right now, dito sa game number 2, they've set another standard na kaya din nila makipagsabayan this time whenever, the stamina is at play and pangmatagalan din sila with the compositions that they have right now.
Yep, as you can see, the item builds, ladies and gentlemen. Kung gusto nyong i-revive ang side lane Hayabusa, check out what Jake the Dog did. Key here is the Malefic Roar and the Brute Force Breastplate. By casting enough spells and by casting your abilities, mabubuhay ka kahit na nag-dive ka sa 4 o 5. And that's what Jake the Dog did. On the other end though, Bren Epro, if there is one thing I can note, is the Twilight Armor on Few. Kaya rin nabubuhay ang baler na to kahit i-dive pa siya ng Rampaging Sandstorm, Shadow Kill, or actually all of them, save for Arves, have some sort of dive. Kaya nabubuhay pa to si Few para pa makalaban and bring in some good damage from the backline is because of the Twilight Armor. It caps one source of damage from breaking the 900 damage threshold. Kaya kung ma-burst ang kalaban mo, this lineup from the Eagles, so okay na okay ka. But again, wasn't enough. The Eagles were just so aggressive. The Eagles were just so ready to take this series 2-0. And this might just be the start. We might see the second half of the season be dominated by the Eagles. Who knows?
Yes, I agree with you on that. And of course, speaking of momentum, let's see how LPE was able to take this game number 2 in not a fast-paced fight, but let's check the highlights real quick on how they were able to really stand their ground. So at the very beginning, talagang nakita mo kung gaano nila tinake down dito ang lapu-lapu of Bren Epro. And to follow that up, really, we were able to see some trades through for the side of Bren Epro. It's just that the amount of positioning for the side of LPE was also into their favor.
Yeah, but there were some moments wherein I could have sworn Epro, like right here, Epro, kumatok na sa pinto ng bahay ng Eagles. But that aside, it's because of Arves. Again, I think the Eagles have done it. They drafted in a way na 4 na Gina G, ML na heroes, and then just one that is a great source of damage. You can only ban so many Farsals. May lulusot. You have the Chang'o. I guess if you wanted to, the Valier could act the same way, pero ninakaw ng Bren Epro. Man, truth be told, I think Panda had the same kind of mindset going into this. And then just executed a different way kasi alam niya na yung Bren Epro, iba na rin ang galaw, iba na rin ang disiplina. But nonetheless, 30 minutes down, this is the Lord for Bren. No, I think second Lord. nailusot pa rin nila, nalo ang 2-0 nonetheless. So again,
Yeah.
congrats.
Truly, congrats to LPE right here, showing us an amount of discipline and of course the fortitude that they really inflicted against Bren Epro right here. So ito na nga, I think this, if I'm not mistaken, this is the second Lord for the taking, and of course look at this, Ryota will be actually he was ejected away para hindi maligtas nga siya. And here onto the next highlight that we have, this is where, if I'm not mistaken, the Lord was already taken, and right now here Bimo will be pinned down there but still survive. So yung makikita mo talaga that LPE really worked on how they are able to sustain themselves whenever they engage in a team fight.
Yeah, no, ito yun. So yeah,
Yan,
this is
ito yun.
after Lord 3 na yun nga, layered Lord take siya. And I think at this point, again, Lord is chunky. Lord is sitting at 30k HP. Kahit na may mamatay sa Eagles, there's enough firepower from minions and from Lord to take down the base and win the series. Our MVP is Arvs though. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the one in the 4-in-1 draft na ginawa dito ng LPE. The Chang, great damage source, 8, 2, and 10. There for about 3 out of 4 fights.
Yes.
At hero damage of 138k. Yung third damage, hindi eh. Talagang pinuulan niya lang yung mga tropa natin sa Bren Epro. Right? That's where the 140k damage came from. Amazing performance, Arvs.
True, and the fact that he was able to position himself in the backlines and just really inflict a lot of damage against Bren Epro na ito yung sinasabi mo na akala mo hindi mo ramdam, but it's going to pick you off anyway. So, and that's what Arvs really demonstrated here for this game number 2. So this is really good job for LPE, showing us some new colors on their stage.
Yeah, new colors, but again, I expected this much from LPE. I guess it just took them a little while longer to figure out what works for them and what fits them best dito sa second season ng the Nationals. Couldn't be any happier for this squad. Couldn't be any happier for the Eagles. Congratulations, Bren Epro. They have a lot to figure out, but I guess it's not too late. Susunod na laban dito. Ito rin mainit, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us, but more on that later because it actually makes sense, no? Check out the standings right now. Yung dalawang nasa taas ang maglalaban. Coming up next.
Indeed. The race for first place, as we have mentioned during our pre-show, and again, this is a good turn of events. We did see that LPE was able to utilize the vulnerability that Bren Epro has shown during their previous games and for this day. So makikita natin ngayon if STIE Olympians can really conquer and continue their winning streak right here against Smart Omega, or will Smart Omega really even out the odds and just end it for the side of STIE Olympians?
We'll be seeing. But yeah, sorry guys, kung di nyo nakita. It's Leo, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. Ibang caster ang sasagot ng laban mamaya. It's gonna be Butters and Honey Glaze. So I hope you guys give them the same love you did to us because it's gonna be an awesome matchup. Once more, SEO versus SMO.
All right, and with that being said, guys, this is it for us. My name is Seiya, and with me on the backsides is Leo. And
Yes.
the Nationals will be right back again for the awesome fight once more of STIE Olympians versus Smart Omega. Don't go onto the browsers. We will be right back.